Hello everyone, my name is Markiplier, and I am here for a draw stream, which I haven't done in a good amount of months. So, hello everyone. I believe I fixed my mic from last time I tried to stream Fallout New Vegas. It should be a lot clearer now. If there's any problems with it, of course, let me know. I'm trying to get the chat overlay to show up on my tablet screen, but it's doing that thing again where it refuses to be convenient. But otherwise, right now on my laptop screen, I have opened the chat, so hopefully I'll be able to respond in a timely manner, but who knows? Finally I hear his voice. Yeah, it's been a long time since I streamed. I mean, back in the Twitch days, I didn't even stream regularly, I just kind of did it once a month at best, with no rhyme or reason. I think I'm still affiliated there, who knows, who cares? Um, but yeah, figured it was good a time as any. So if it works, it works. In terms of like my voice. I got RuneScape playing in the background. Yeah, nothing can be wrong, I'm sure. So I'm gonna switch over to the other screen right now. I don't even know if there's like a transition filter. No, it's clean. Alright. So here it is. My blank little thing. Doug Walker Jr. So today, I got one patron request to do, and that is like someone's Tau OC from 40k, of course. But in the meantime, I mean, to warm up even, I haven't done that today. I'll just be sketching dummy to get ready. Ugh. While I'm here, I can show you guys how I draw blue rivers quickly. I'm not a very good teacher, so I can't really explain what goes on in this step, other than this is pretty much muscle memory for me at this point with Blue's face. There she is. She's going to do something with her lobster hands. Simple shapes coming together. Yeah, I have a pretty geometrical style. Apparently, though, it's not even as geometrical as I really think it is, according to some other people. Unidentified sources. Yeah, that's very rough, so her proportions probably aren't too accurate. But in general, that is the blue. Let's see, is there a way for me to organize things on my window? For you guys, it should only show, like, the drawstring window, no matter what I slide in front of it. So this is just for me right now. Favorite artist, Stin Smigalinsky. Yeah, that's me. Okay. So while I have that all set, let me figure out what brush I actually want to use. So I have something weird where, I mean, probably a few other people have the same kind of taste, but yeah, this brush I downloaded from some poor Japanese fella that I can't credit right now. I forgot his name. I like it when there's a bit of lack of control. Like you can see here, it blots kind of weirdly. That's cool. There we go. out of my system. Their cousin Orange Ocean does not exist. Let's see. What am I trying to figure out? So, this person's character, you might have seen her. Her name is She. I've drawn her before. It's by a very kind patron. Wake Zachary. Good fella. Usually, I'd probably be doing more of these, but he... I mean, I don't... Is that violating OPSEC? Never mind. I guess I won't talk about it. So I won't say what's going on there. But he was busy, basically. But now, he's back in action, so... You'll probably see this Tau girl and a few other 40k characters are popping up more often. But right now, I'm just trying to get like a hang of it. Because I haven't drawn her in a while. The imperfections of reality are sought out. Yeah, that's a big thing I do a lot. Even, I can show a quick example of that actually. So, with this, you know, it's full on black, which I mean isn't uncommon to see in a scan. Like, yeah, you notice if you read a lot of vintage manga, or even just manga in general online. But I got this paper overlay, right? And you see this probably a lot in my works. But you notice a problem there. In a lot of manga and in real life, the ink would kind of deteriorate over time. So if you want that feeling, there might be a better filter for it. But I'm used to screen, and I bring that down to like 15, somewhere around that range, and you see that it's like for real. I don't really have any advanced terms to describe it other than it's for real. But yeah, that's the basic kind of gist. Yeah, you can see even here this brush kind of does that naturally already. That's a Kino's Journey reference. The world is not beautiful, therefore it is. Well, actually, so you guys get an idea of what I'm drawing. This is the character drawn by, I believe, the name escapes me, but Captain Barricade would know because this is an artist very frequently that draws a lot of Gravity Rush Cat. The name escapes me, but this is the basic kind of design. For this patron request, it's just a simple thumbs up he wants, smiling. But even then, you know, why not? I guess I'll throw in this sketch that I'm working on already. Scruffy turtles, yeah. Now this is the cool thing about digital art that a lot of people, of course, know already. You can cheat in this way if you don't like how something was placed. Just for the sake of, especially stuff like this. Ideally, you don't even have, you know, you wouldn't be at the point where you need to do stuff like that, moving entire parts around, because you would sketch out most of it beforehand, especially a line of action. But I get away with it because I draw geometrically. Actually, their eyes are... Well, it depends, of course, on their eyes. We never really see a lot of Tau females, especially with hair. Warhammer. Whoa, title drop. Poofy pants are always very fun to draw. You don't get much of an opportunity to do them. This is how you make a girl character. Thick fucking eyelashes. Yeah, alright, that's the basic gist of the character. I think I got it. You had to do that with one of your character's hiking boots the other day. Detail 0 is proportioned weird. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's a good way. It's a good fix. It's not as bad as, well, what I would say, getting addicted to Control Z and undo. That is, you had to do it to impose. Yeah, I mean, that's something I heard a while back. I don't know if that's even good advice or not, but trying to not become too reliant on Control Z will make you consider your strokes a lot more beforehand. I mean, you see it a lot with more. I'm looking carefully for diplomatic words because I have no malice for these people. More beginner artists, when they draw a stream, instead of just doing that, and then oops, I messed up, I can press the eraser key and do that. You'll see them go a lot more like, oh, that's not perfect. Oh, that's not perfect. And that goes on for like 30 minutes of a video. And that's very bad because that's not natural, one could say. You don't really get away with that in the real world, and because of that, your body gets too addicted to repetition. Do a flip hero? I wish I had the, do you guys remember Ghost Radio? That was like a really classic 4chan raid target. He would play cans out WAV if there was like a crash or something. Ghost was like, I don't know how to describe him. He was like, he obviously played it up, but he was kind of like the typical Texan radio internet jockey kind of guy. Ghost Radio cans that way. Can I find it? But he would like flip out. It wasn't easy to. True Capitalist Radio. That was what it was. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, we got a freaking Helen Keller deaf mute. How about 540 Radio Graffiti? It will be legal in Texas to shoot Thomas Albert. Hey, it's me. I'm Thomas Albert. You son of a... That's not funny, you son of a bitch.
So the big thing with that was that eventually people started realizing that it was like the same set of sounds over and over again. So he was like, every time he was raging, he would be actually be hitting a button that was cans that way instead of actually doing it for real every time. But yeah, True Capitalist Radio was a trip. That was a. I mean, it was a reminder of kind of the fun days, I guess, of the internet. Back when raids were kind of just humorous. No one hated, you know, Ghost. He's just funny to troll. You have a friend who's currently doing another stream. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's no malice. I'm not doing it to bully the people that rely on Control Z. It's just something to be very aware of if you are an artist. Alright, but I have not a very good focus, so let me quickly check and make sure that that is what the pose ID is. Tau OC, smiling and holding up the peace sign. See, there we go. I almost forgot that. It's not thumbs up. It's the peace sign. Okay, I need to move this back a bit. Adjusting tablet. I don't have a static setup nowadays, sadly, because of my laptop. I don't think I even talked about that online. A few months ago, my computer broke. I think the motherboard bricked. So I had to I had to buy a laptop. I'm laughing because life's mostly been pretty chill and good, but there's been some pretty hefty setbacks at some point or others. And I didn't want to tweet about it too much because it's like, okay, what's the point of depressing everyone? It doesn't sadden me that much. It just looks pathetic. My car breaks down. My car gets destroyed in a crash while it was parked. My computer breaks. I had to go to extended family member's funeral. But you know, it's alright. Life moves on. The scary music tipped right in at that point. Is it still forward progress? Yeah, I'd say so. When I say setback, I shouldn't say setback. I guess it's more stalls in the journey. You know, in terms of the computer dying, it's financial and time flash setback for sure. In terms of family members passing on, it's a distant family member, which, you know, that doesn't make their death any lesser, of course, but it's a distant relative. So it was more of a time of reflection and missing than for the close relatives of that member. It would, of course, be much more emotionally tumultuous. So yeah, it was mostly just reflection for me, seeing the other family members. Also, yeah, my wrist. Wrist is wacky. It's feeling better now. It still gets a little sore from time to time, but you know, it's enough to work. But anyways, this is how I like to frame the sort of stuff that I'm working on. Like beforehand, when I'm doing something like simple like this. I like to frame it beforehand in like a postcard sort of thing. And ideally when you draw or sketch like this, make it very tiny, not too many details, because if you put in too many details you get caught up in what should be a very quick step. Oh, well, thank you very much, King Macrophage. I appreciate the poppin'. I was working with Perpetua coming along. Well, I still can't pronounce the name very well, but it's going along pretty good. Love the development team. Even more importantly than personal relationships, it's you know, whether or not I like the team, we can work together, and that's even more important, of course, in regards of team projects like this. But I wouldn't even say I'm officially in the team, more just a contracted out UI guy. But it's going pretty good. Pretty simple designs for the UI is my main camp of working. So I've been doing that. I'd love to share some of them, but you know, I'm gonna leave that up to the development team to post my work and the updates as it comes along. But I'm pretty happy with the latest one. I posted it on Twitter, if you remember, the poll with Max Payne and everything. The Max Payne pose idea. WPs looked great. Well, thank you. It's difficult to think of which idea would work better. Yeah, the demo is fun. They might have released a new one that I haven't tried yet. I played whichever one where it starts with Marie in her apartment, and then you're in this sort of huge plaza with the skyscrapers and infiltrating that little restaurant and the elevators and the parking garage at the top. That was cool. It blew my mind when I realized this is all one level. There hasn't been like a and it feels complete. When you fall from the parking garage 50 floors up, you fall back to like the first area. That was cool. Very, very cyberpunk. That was the old demo. Alright, yeah. Then I'll download it again to play it up. That's very cool. Having a lot of fun with it. Of course, you know, I'm involved with the project, so obviously I'm gonna show it, but truthfully, I do enjoy it. Okay, so with that as the first idea, with that, now you can start playing around with composition. Going like, okay, well, what would work better? Like right here, I'm already coming with the idea that maybe I wanted to move it more into a sort of portrait view. Sort of the more I do this, the more it's gonna look like a vintage World War II poster. I'm probably basing this off of vintage World War II poster in my head right now as we speak, but with this, I can accentuate more feminine features such as hips and stuff like that. There's always a fun plus. Just a matter of figuring out where you want to crop this sort of thing. It's always kind of difficult. Alright, yeah, between those two, I'm not sure what I'm thinking about more. No, well, thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate it. I hope my work continues to be of even better quality in the future. That's something we can, or I can ramble about the future of my art. Because I know I talk a lot about, like, I'm very excited to move on from Blue Rivers. I don't mean to sound ungrateful, of course, with that, to people who like Blue Rivers, that sort of story and work. But it's exhausting working on something so depressing, basically, mentally and emotionally. So I'm excited to move on to my next work. It's gonna definitely be a lot brighter. Tone's gonna be a lot more shonen or One Piece, I bet. Still deep, I hope, but less sad and modern. Not sure of the setting. It might be regular fantasy, or you know, in the high medieval era, or it might be post apocalyptic, like Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind, where it's so far past the apocalypse, we're just back in medieval conditions, but with cool tech mixed in. Right's more dynamic. It is a bit more dynamic, yeah. I don't like exactly how I drew it, but that's alright. We have the basic idea. It's also just a doodle, so I mean, of course, that doesn't mean I'm gonna half-ass it, but here we go. I have this. I mean, it's a personal failing. I tend to overdo patron requests because like they're supposed to just be doodles, but I don't have too many patrons right now, and I would feel terrible about skimping people or whatever. So I tend to overdo it as of now. A little more detailed than I should. Currently making characters in a lonely collab setting. Oh yeah, kind of like Girls Last Tour, or there was this Japanese anime about, boy, what was it? It was like a robot worker handling like a cafe in the post-apocalypse, but it's like peaceful by that point. Most things have collapsed. So you just get to get like a guest every 20 years or something. I don't know if that's the range. I haven't watched it, but that's the idea. It's meant to be one of those comfy after the end sort of things. Oh yeah, I mean don't worry about it. You don't request too much. It's a me thing, you know. I go above and beyond, so don't feel bad about it at all. Eventually, if I get more patrons or work, I'll have to do, what I promised, basically, like more simple. You can see it on my Patreon, like an idea of what I mean to do. Here, let me pull it up and paste it for people who aren't my patrons. Yeah, so something like this is what I post as an example. Fuck, zoom out. It's like I don't tend to get more. In an ideal world, I don't get more complicated than that. But as of now, there's not too many people on Patreon, so I can spend some more personal time doing what I would like to do. You have that saved on my YouTube? Oh yeah, no worries. I'll make it like an apology to everyone that month that is at that tier and go like, hey, sorry, I gotta cool it down, little folks. That Nausicaa techno fantasy level concept, yeah, it's pretty cool. It gives a lot of, how do you say, creativity in your design department. It's just kind of a me thing where I'm never sure how to draw new designs unless I'm giving like an entirely unique world. Like you kind of so you see some of my fantasy designs. They I struggle a bit with making things beyond like real life armor and stuff like that. Like like whenever I draw the halfling girls, they're usually dressed in like what was really medieval clothes that you see in like the older historical pictures and stuff like that. The anime I mentioned is called Yokohama Kaidashi Kiku. Okay, you guys can see the chat. I'm not spelling that out. But yeah. The world as BRR is an inspiration for yourself. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear it did inspire. Not dystopian, but definitely fractured. Is that how BRR feels? Does it feel dystopian to people? I wonder what vibes people get from it. You angled weird. Okay, I want her to be facing like that. And this kind of turns. Maybe. Is that what I want to do? Or I can do it like this, and this is facing that way. Okay, I'll figure it out from here, but that's the general idea. Border. This will be line work. You like to think of the United States as INGSOC if it was run by idiots. Yeah, everyone's in on the how authoritarian the government is, but things still suck. That is water. That's why I like to say whenever I can, when people ask me for inspirations for Blue Rivers, I mention Brazil. Not the country, though I can see how some people might think of that. It's a movie from the 80s, where that's the entire premise, basically. It's 1984, but with realistically sort of what our tech can do, and that means it's a horribly inefficient bureaucratic mess, where the problem with it is 1984, the government is extremely efficient. You know, they're surgical almost in their precision of taking out dissidents or whatever. But in Brazil, it's the entire story starts because a bureaucratic mistake arrests the wrong family, and a real rebel goes free to continue doing his terrorism bullshit. And the main character who was responsible for that mistake is a bureaucrat who spends the entire movie trying to fix his mistake. But almost everyone he runs into is either stupidly evil in terms of they're like the government can never do wrong, or they're incredibly lazy and they're like, I don't care that someone got fucked over. I'm bored. I just want to go home. And that is a much scarier and more likely chaotic reality of that kind of government system. IMO. Okay, this is a... I just realized this is a tiny resolution. We can go a little better than that. There we go. So from here we kind of have a simple idea, and you might even see here, I don't like to follow exactly what I set out for myself. That's something as well as also you want to be very careful with your line thickness, which I still have a lot of trouble with. There we go. And you might see there's some mistakes here and there, but you want to, and I'm not the best with them, leave them as long as possible. Like right here, my instinct is to go in and fix it. But usually, mistakes that can be erased, you can leave until the end, and by then you'll get the idea of what's more worth spending time on. How big do I make my canvases? It depends a lot. For webtoons, it's whatever their size is, sometimes by 2, so that when you shrink it down in half, it'll like... Well, the idea is when you shrink it down in half, it'll be better, because it'll start getting rid of the little mistakes that you might have missed, but in my case, it kind of just makes my work look very blurry. I don't know if I have the settings wrong or whatever. So as much as possible, I like to draw actual size, unless it's a commission. When it's a commission, I draw pretty big, like 1,500 pixels minimum in any direction for the actual drawing. Because like, you know, when I make the canvas, I like to frame it up like this, so I can never really give like an accurate idea about what the actual size of the drawing is after I crop it down. I don't like how I made her head shape here, since that is a pretty important feature of it. She do a smile. She do smile. Interesting little trivia thing. For this character, when I first, I think I designed her. I'm not sure. I think I did. It's been a while, and I don't want to claim credit for something I didn't do. But when I did design her, I believe the commissioner mentioned, could you just give her Blue River's hair? And it's interesting because Blue River's hair has changed so much by now that you can't really recognize that this used to be Blue River's hair unless you were a very old fan, back before she had pigtails even. But yeah, that's basically pretty close to what her hair was back then. Here, so her hips match a bit more. So Luke could have a different hairstyle for every day of the week, for sure. Talk the reasons why you like beer, the outfit and character change to make it feel organic. Yeah, I love outfit changes on characters in general. It's one of my favorite things. It's a good way of like showing dynamically a character's growth even. Character changes I'd be a lot more careful with, you know, that's in regards to me, a lot of that might just also be that I'm not very good at drawing a lot of characters consistently. So what might look intentional was actually probably just me going, shit, how do I do this? Again, this is one of the benefits of my style. I can just close it off and there's a sharp edge like that. Giving them a different look, but keeping the feel right. Yeah, it's difficult for sure. Yeah, no, I mean, if it works, it works. I'm not discounting it. I'm not being like, I'm not trying to be a dickhead at least, where I go like, "Well, you found meaning in my work? Fuck you." That's some evil, subversive Rick and Morty school of writing, where the point isn't to make the art, the care. New age writing, instead of trying to make the reader feel smarter for having read it, for having just enjoyed life and the work in general, they punish you for that. They like to go, "Oh, you enjoy traditional storytelling? You're a fucking idiot. Fuck you, idiot. Feel bad. You should never enjoy things." And then the people who enjoy these shows wonder why they're violently unhappy with life. But yeah, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. Even if I even if I myself say I didn't really do a great job with my work, that's not me discounting the reader. That's just me going, I'm gonna improve on that next time. So if my like characters feel organic, but they still keep the feel, that's great. That means I'm doing better than I thought I did. Perhaps I'm just a little too hard on myself at times. Which, when it comes to art, is okay as long as you're not a foolish person that ties your self-esteem to how good your art is. What a terrible idea. My God, find some meaning in your life other than that. Something that's not so tied to the whims of other people. You know, like how do I say this? Some more unsolicited HIROTONFA life advice for anyone listening is don't tie your sense of self-worth to how successfully other people view your chosen task or hobby. Tie your sense of self-worth to something much more controllable, like a good thing that's very good that I haven't done myself very well or consistently in a while is having pride in working out, something like that. You know, you can say I wake up, you know, at least 5 out of 7 days of the week, I go straight to the gym or I work out or I take a run, and that's great. That's something you can control. You can't control whether or not, oh man, this art piece, it did like 5,000 likes last month, but now it's doing only 200. Yeah, that's a terrible idea to tie your sense of self-worth to. Absolutely horrible. My second piece of advice that I don't see thrown around a lot. And of course, you know, be very careful about taking my advice. I'm not the smartest guy out there, but one thing that I notice tends to work well that I don't see a lot of people talking about is have friends outside of your field. That's incredibly important. If you make your entire life about like one specific thing in your social field, in your social circle around that, that's a bad idea because then you're going to be constantly in that lifestyle, and that's not the best thing. You want some variation out there. Whatever that is, you know, politics or anything. Is the chat still working? Yeah. Okay, it is. Sorry, I can never tell sometimes. How do I pull this thing back up? I still don't like how I did her face here. Something went wrong. Maybe it's a smile. Yeah, it was a smile. Test. Yep, I can see it. Oh, that's alright. I guess people just aren't too active on a Sunday. Last time I did this stream, it was super hectic. I couldn't even keep track of things. It might just be the fact that this isn't high enough. Breaking my control Z right here a lot. Yeah, that fits the style better, this proportions. No, it doesn't. That's better. I'm a good background noise. Well, thank you. Right, so now, looking at this, what can I do differently? So this is pretty much done at this point. I just want to move the proportions even more again. Do something a little better. This is why you want to plan out your things beforehand, but I'm stupid. So how does that feel in comparison to that? Better. So now she's a little wide, so I can just kind of... Okay. Yeah. Blue Rivers mode and normal woman mode. Funny proportion. Okay, that's pretty simple. At this point now, it's just... Listen here, I've drawn his character before, so I'm going to commit the sin of using the eyedropper tool. Usually you want to be able to do this sort of guesswork without the need for such. Okay, so there's a bit of... You can kind of see there where I tried to fill it in, and there was a bit of what do you want to say? Like, there was fuzziness kind of in between everything. So to fix that fuzziness, you can just fill it in directly, like so. That way when you change it up a bit, it won't have any problems. Okay, there we go. Now there's no fuzziness between the armor, though you have to fix this now, so. There's a give and a take with everything. Nothing will work 100% of the time. This doesn't even have to be filled out, actually. Because it simply does not. Fuck. I keep trying to do the eraser tool. There we go. But there's like been no audio glitches or anything so far. I think I figured that out, by the way. So when I did that New Vegas playthrough a while back, I had basically I plugged in my microphone directly into the jack instead of doing the whole USB thing, because I was like, okay, that doesn't, I don't know if that's necessary or not. It turns out if your headset comes with a USB connection thing, it is probably pretty essential. And without it, it was making like the most horrible glitching noises. So I'd be talking like this and it would go like, so that's fixed now. That's perfect. All right. Might get back into streaming games then, but who knows? We'll see. Because I can swear to you, if I got popular enough, I probably would just become lazy and do like a profitable Let's Play thing. So be careful with that. Don't tempt me with a good time. My frame of reference isn't necessarily Oni plays, but more, if anyone watched Demolition D, he was a big YouTube reviewer back in the day, but now he's been getting fucked like badly by YouTube and everything. They keep demonetizing all this shit, so now he just streams games because they didn't really give him any other choice on Twitch. What are you gonna do? Berserk Man. Yeah, exactly. Berserk Man. Badongle. Be a great fucking fun guy. Incredibly entertaining. If you never watched his, either his reviews or his streams. Very good fun. Well, I don't think it was the most recent stream, but there was one where he was just sad and crying. But hopefully he's doing better now. Poor guy. Did he make a video where he fed worms to lizards? Yeah, he has a lot of animals. Loves them. Yeah, hectic is a good word to describe. The demolition, the demo. You had one hectic one where. Oh, hey. Yeah, I mean, they're hectic. That's the best way I can say it. That's my advertising for them. If you know Demolition D, you know how funny he is. If you don't know Demolition D and you like anime, check out his stuff. If it's still even on YouTube, I don't know if they took it down. He keeps getting copyright struck. They like to fuck him over. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the drawing I worked on to make sure I got all the shapes and insignias right. I don't like again what I've done here. Let us fix that. Here you can see the dedication to my craft. Where I get autistically obsessed about tiny minute details no one else will notice. Let's see. One thing I like about this design actually is that even if you don't know 40K, you can tell she's like a fun little alien design, just because of the antennas. You know, not even like biological antennas, but mechanical stuff. Very cool. If I did, I just realized if I did design her originally, which I'm still not sure about, then that I'm just praising myself here. Go Hero, you're a fucking genius. I know. Oh, okay, I was in the wrong folder, and that's why nothing was showing up for my references. Now I can see. Okay. The red might be a little too vibrant. So let me... Oh, that's not enough tolerance. I only want the red, please. Too much tolerance? Okay, I guess it was. Here we go. A little more luminosity, probably. That's too much. Yeah, that's a little better for the desired effect. Okay. In the background, I can do a little towel base. I'm being too kind right now, I would like to reiterate. Nah, but it's cool. I want to do this. Towel buildings are very fun shaped. So even though I don't really like drawing backgrounds that much, you know, who can turn down a towel building? Background's even the correct color. Cool. I will set this to lock transparent pixels, otherwise known as a opacity lock, or transparency lock. And then I can, it won't like spread out with the desired color. I could do this. That's not correct. That is correct. Is that what I want to do? Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, let me mess around a bit. No, that isn't really what I want to do. Okay. What I can do, I think, is what I'm trying to do here, which is set up more background stuff. There we go. That's pretty much good enough. Just had an epiphany that the reason the fill tool wasn't working in this layer is because it was 8-bit. What a horrible situation. I'm glad you figured it out. Okay, that's pretty much all of it, unless I'm noticing anything glaring later in the future. And just to time myself, how long did that take? Is there a timer here? It took me an hour to do that? I'm pretty slow, goddamn. Water break. I've never set fill tools to like different bits, so that's a bit of a strange one to me. Well, good night yourself, Captain Barricade. Thank you for tuning in. Alright, that only took an hour, so I'm down to doodle a little bit around the area, whatever I wanted to. Hold on, let me check my Discord messages. Who messaged me? Oh, my babe. There we go. That was a quick message. What do I want to draw? I'll do something different than I usually do. Talk about how cool pigmen are a lot, but I never draw them a lot. Let me just throw one in. when you draw animal fantasy characters, it's always a fine line between furry and not furry. I still haven't figured out the secret really to avoiding one. I think the more animalistic you make them, that might help out a bit, or the more human. I don't know what it is actually. Never mind. That doesn't make sense then with some stuff. Let's make a little turn of the century little pig lad here. Wish you could draw animal people and not be associated with horrible degenerates. Yeah, you can't really escape. Also, welcome, Great Tree. For associate with a cat before you figured out furries were a thing. Oh man, that sucks. It really does suck. Finding out some design that you like is associated with something beyond your control. It all depends. Of like, what's that latest character from One Piece? Carrot or whatever? So there's like two ways you can do furry character. Or like animal characters, I should say. Excuse me, I'm burping all over the place. So like something like this even, no one's gonna fault you for. Like, you know, they're just... That's just cute. No one's gonna complain about that. Even you go as far as adding that. The more simple and cartoony it is, I think the more people will look past it. Because Carrot from One Piece is very adorable. I think I drew more of a bear character than I did a... Yeah, you know, something like this. Even with like a tail. If you draw this, it looks like she's holding her other arm of her hand, and that's Moe. Would you look at that? I just designed the entire character very quickly, off the top of my head. If you want to make her even more cute, you do this, and then you can do this, and you can also do this. Any more than that, I'd be careful, because I think I might have added too many features. Furry stuff is reminiscent of old Disney cartoons? I wonder. I wonder. That might be what it's from. The blush was too much. That's fine. Very, very nice. Yes. Reminds me of Kingpin. Yeah, he does have that body shape. You're not wrong. Oh, but yeah, like I was saying, I guess the more... Either the more anime or the more animal-like you make an animal character, you'll be okay. Probably. I don't know. Because, like, even here, I gave him pretty animalistic eyes. What if I did, like, this? I don't think anyone's gonna complain. Though it is getting a little too humanistic. I don't like that for what this is. This is cooler. There you go. Like Sycamore carry his weight. B&A where you can't put it in one core or another. B&A is a little more obvious. That's getting a little more furry. That one in like the taxi story or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, I'm just glad I'm not. Ooh, I dropped my tablet accidentally. There we go. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not in that whole mess of a field, basically. In my fantasy, I'll probably make like animal people like this, but you know, that's as far as I'll go. So whatever, I'm fine. This is the part where you make sort of like an. So what I do here is where lines meet, I bring in some more depth and like the idea of pooling ink, which would happen in normal. With real traditional tools, this would happen naturally. It would like pool together, but it doesn't. And there's a rhyme or reason to it, so I wouldn't just do this, right? Because then that looks like. Actually, that kind of works. I wouldn't do this, is what I'm trying to say. Because then that would look like I'm trying to make it overlap it. But when you think of this as a three-dimensional object and you do this, it looks like it's falling on top of it. It's casting a shadow. That's just little tricks to make your work look a little more dynamic. To associate light without even like. This is like the bare minimum of shading, you know? I'm not even shading. But with this, it's kind of enough to associate it with depth. So when I do that, I don't know if it makes a big difference, but it seems better to me. The snouts that are the issue? Yeah, I guess, because I think that is what it is. Because, so like, I do a character like this, right? No, hold on. That's kind of getting there too. Look at this. This sweet little character. This is fine, you know. You can put a little thing there. People won't really associate that with anything crazy. But if you go like this, yeah, I can see why people would go like, oh, that's furry. So I won't even change the teeth that much. Yeah. We cracked the code, ladies and gentlemen. You were right on the snout thing. That is what it is. Yeah, that's like obviously furry. That's insane. we go. Oh no. There we go. That's societal. How society views this metric. Instead of writing, oh no, I should put in danger. Dangerous. If it's got a snout, it's out. Not furry. Yeah, it's like no matter what you do, once the snout is that out, you're pretty much fucked. Even here, when you're not coloring them in, it might be just better to leave them like that. Yeah, that looks a little better. Alright, well, thank you for tuning in, everyone. We accomplished quite a bit today. I will maybe stream sometime soon. Who knows? I'm not making any promises. Peace out.